You're watching Suck Professor. Hello, everybody. It's me, Hank. I'm joined by...
James.
James!
Hurry. This bit's getting old, James. Hurry up and sit down. It's starting. There's tense music. William.
James, welcome to the show. Meant to say viewers. Hello, everybody. It's our Suck Professor show, and we're talking about the Westworld Season 3, Episode 4. What was this titled?
This was episode 4, The Mother of Exiles.
The Mother of Exiles. That's a great title, actually, after having watched it. So, welcome, everybody. We're going to do a spoiler-filled review, kind of just sort of a podcast to talk about the show after we just watched it here on a Sunday night in quarantine America. James and I are 3 feet apart. We are breaking the rules. And, you know what? The virus can go fuck itself. James, tell the virus to go fuck itself. Are you sick of it yet?
Nope. Haven't met it yet. Keeping it that way.
Okay, yeah, let's keep it that way. I think I already had it, which means you already had it if I already had it, because, you know, that's for sure. We're roommates. And, all right, so, James, where do we start? What do you want?
At the beginning.
At the beginning, then. Wow, you are a pro. How did it start? I don't remember.
It started with the scene of finally seeing the man in black, William Ed Harris again.
That's right.
He is in his apartment. He has broken mirrors, shotguns all over the place, broken things apart. He's having a mental breakdown.
He's gone full on Daniel Day-Lewis from There Will Be Blood at the end of the movie.
Yeah, so
he's like a rich guy just destroying his cool house and shooting mirrors and, yeah, having a good time. Yeah,
so one of the last things we saw from him in the prior seasons was him getting torn to pieces, thinking he wasn't going to survive, he was going to die. Mm-hmm. He accidentally, he intentionally shoots the woman, Emily, who he believes to be a host, who's his daughter. Yeah. Finds out it wasn't a host, he's killed his own daughter. And then we had that weird after-credit scene where he wakes up in the distant future, we assume, and he's a host, and he doesn't really know the nature of his own reality, and then now we're being brought back into the real world, so to speak, but we still don't know what the nature of the reality of Ed Harris is, nor does he know himself. Right. He's starting to question reality, and he's seen his dead daughter appearing before him, and she's trying to further confuse him, saying, do you have free will? Are all the things that you do in your life based on a choice you've made yourself? Did you intend to kill me? No, I didn't intend to kill you. Then that wasn't your choice. No, but I chose to shoot. But you didn't know I was a host, blah, blah, blah. She's playing mind games with him.
Yeah, mind games. Those are rough. James, do you like playing mind games? No, you don't like playing mind games. Mind games? James? Why do you like them?
Huh?
Quit playing mind games with me, James. You're going to make me go murder all your enemies before... Okay, so he's haunted by his daughter, and is that just a mental haunting, or is something uploaded? I keep feeling like they're always hinting that he might be a host himself. Has that been?
Yeah.
I think we've been speculating that since season 1.
Yeah, and that post-credit scene, the other season, seemed to kind of confirm that at least that happens eventually, that he takes the same path of his father, James Delos, and, well, not his father, his
partner?
No, James Delos was the head of the Delos Corporation.
Yeah. No, just not his father, you mean?
No, it was Logan's father.
Right.
And he was Logan's, he married Logan's sister.
Oh, like in the repeat fire
hotel. So it wasn't his father, but it was his father-in-law. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So, all right. But we don't think he's a host or what? Or maybe he eventually becomes one.
Well, there was the big metaphor for the James Delos going through hell, being constantly failing his Turing test, so to speak, and going into the incinerator. So it was his repetition of hell, because they can never make it work how you put a host inside a human body, but you can put a host's mind inside a host body and it just works fine. Or you can put a host mind inside a virtual world and simulate reality for them outside the experience of a corporeal body,
right.
And that works, but they could never nail it where you take a human mind and put it into a host body. That's what they can never master.
Okay. Man, you're good at explaining this. I felt like halfway through this episode, I had an idea what was going on, and then I lost track. So I really don't know.
Actually, was a lot. This was a city episode, which I normally hate.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on in this one. We actually get answers to questions, and that's why this episode stands apart from the other ones so far.
It's a pretty good reveal that we'll get to.
Yeah.
I mean, people watching this probably already know it, but we'll hold off on that because it came up later. All right, so then Dolores is recruit or Dolores and Jesse Pinkman are ganging up and they're on a mission, or Charlotte is more
yeah. We should mention who walks in on Ed Harris while he's having his breakdown.
Charlotte does.
Yes, Charlotte Hale, or the host that we know is Charlotte Hale, but we know it's not Charlotte in there.
Tessa Thompson, the actor.
Yeah, she didn't survive the massacre at the park, so Dolores came out and printed her body and put someone in there. We know she took like 5 pearls away from the park. One of them was Bernard, which leaves the 4 other remaining pearls to be a mystery.
Right.
So we know that it's someone in there. We just, at this point in time, don't know who it is.
Okay. Yeah. So she comes in and she tells him that she needs him to show up at this board meeting. They've got to do something.
Right, because
and
the hostile takeover. They need to stop it.
Yeah, they're trying to stop it. And she's got a private investor that she can bring in to help them, fend off the hostile takeover by Baguette Chirac.
Yes.
And they're going to have a vote of some kind that night with the board, an emergency board meeting. And she needs him to get shareholder meeting or whatever. She needs him to get his shit together. So, right? And that's more or less the gist of that scene?
Yeah, she says there's 2 executives outside. They're going to come and take you to the meeting. So I need you on my side so the rest of the board will vote along with us and we can save the company that you spent your entire life building.
Right. Okay. And he seems to be somewhat interested in, like, he doesn't just yell at her and run her off. Doesn't fire his gun in the air and go, "Get out of here!"
No, not quite yet.
Run! Get out of here! Go on, get!
One thing I did want to mention that we have not mentioned at all in any of these episodes is that constant transition screen where it shows like a scene from The Ring. Before you die, you see the ring type thing. It's like a well cover or something, but it's this spherical looking object that has codes in the top left and it says divergence with coordinates.
Yes, I
and we never really knew what that was definitively, but this episode kind of answers it.
Okay, all right. Do you want to explain that right now, or do you want to hold off?
We could.
Because they did sort of say use the word divergence.
It turns out to be some sort of it's a system or a program. I don't think it's Rehoboam, but it's something that is owned by Sirac.
Oh, it's owned by Sirac.
Yes, and remember when Dolores was talking to Jesse Pinkman it was last episode.
Caleb is his name.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I can't remember his name. I just thought
Caleb Nichols. Yeah.
Caleb Nichols. Yeah.
Well, she was talking to him on the bridge or the pier, and she was telling him about how his future is preordained. That there is this program, this company that has a predicative ability to tell, virtually what everyone in the world's going to do, what they're going to become, what they can't be, what they can be, and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's what she's fighting against because she's drawing a parallel between that kind of a prism for humanity and the own prism that she broke out of and she's trying to overthrow.
Okay.
So it seems to me like Sirac refers to different locations and different events where Dolores and Maeve and everyone had interactions in the real world as divergences. And that's what this picture shows, the coordinates of divergences. So if you think about it, his whole program, his algorithm tells you it's a predictive algorithm based on data that's known about people. But you take additional pieces that were never on the board to begin with, these artificial constructs, these people, and you put them into a closed system where everything has already been predicted, and you're going to start to get anomalies. Yeah. Those are the divergences he's been tracking. They're blips in the system, ripples in the water.
Okay. Like data, just like they're constantly ingesting data. For instance, like astronomy, they're always pulling in light. Like telescopes are very sophisticated. They're mostly about computer processing these days. Is like the planet detections and all that kind of stuff. It's not so much about looking into an eyepiece and seeing something. It's more about just processing data, massive amounts of data. And they do look for like little blips and that they can suss out information based on the tiniest little divergences. Yeah. James's point holding up a picture there. So it's sort of like a visualization of that process, I guess, right? Yep. You explained it really well, though. Thank you.
And I like that it's all white with like this milky thing, and it's sort of like almost symbolic that the hosts come from milk. And we see a lot of that in this episode, too. Yeah. It's like the white fluid that is used to create. Yeah.
All life emerges from a puddle of white fluid.
Yeah, well, yeah. Right, as soon as I said that, I was like, hey, he's going to go for it.
Well, that's they clearly wanted us to all think about that. Barrels of, that circular thing also kind of looks like the language used in Arrival, or the aliens have this spherical 3D thingy. Anyway, okay, so Bernard finds Stubbs, or they're already hooked up. Then they're
So this is the last time we saw Bernard and Stubbs is that Bernard had redone. Basically, Stubbs was going to kill himself because he was like, "Well, my whole programming, my prime directive was to protect the guest and protect Delos in the park. That's kind of all gone to crap now." So Bernard repurposes him and gives him a new modus operandi, which is protect Bernard at all costs. So so Ashley Stubbs is now Bernard's security guard, his
body man or bag man, you might almost say. But security guard partner. They're not equals though. Bernard's calling the shots.
So Bernard has a theory. And what is that theory?
That if he presses the button, he'll freeze?
Well, that's a good point, too, because Bernard, I forgot about that. Bernard had created this mechanism where he can freeze hosts. He's built this device, and he's going to use this device to bring someone into his fold, based on a theory that he has.
Let me try it on you real quick here. I got a mute button. Click! A seesaw motor functions. Go get me a bag of Twizzlers. But I want different Twizzlers from different bags because of the coronavirus. Let's be safe about this. If I were a billionaire, that's what I would do. I would be an asshole. Click. Resume motor functions.
Oh, okay. So basically happens that Bernard believes that Dolores is doing something, and that is kill and replace. And he's right. She is doing that.
Replace with hosts that she produces herself outside of the park.
He knows that she has pearls.
Okay. Why is Bernard doing this though?
That's one of the more nuanced, confusing parts for us.
But you could say I'm included in
because she brought Bernard back as one of the pearls. So she put an adversarial piece on the board with an ulterior motive to her own, as though to temper herself. I'm not quite sure.
Like who woke up Bernard? I know
she did it. And she set him free as if to balance the force. I don't know. She knew that he would be opposed to her, yet.
Well, maybe isn't that kind of the premise of the Matrix? Is that they just let Neo run rampant because they know it's like a cycle. They just let the guy like have the revolution, and they're like, yeah, we just do that. We just let you guys do that.
Pretty much.
So maybe Bernard is like the necessary resistance. It's like she can control the resistance if she's going to have somebody fighting her. Or I don't know. Or there'll probably be some twist.
Or her master plan is so far planned out in the future that she has a role for Bernard in mind, which she must.
He throws Jesse off the bridge or off the the dock thing. It's just like a bridge that they didn't finish, isn't it? Just keep building one of those. You'll get to Japan or Philippines. So, okay, cool.
So Bernard's theory is that she's killing and replacing, but he's wrong in one respect. He thinks that she has already killed and replaced Liam. She has not. She killed and replaced Connolly, which is Liam's sort of handler or his thug, his bodyguard, his corporate older guy business. The actor from the Irish sounding guy.
Sons of Anarchy.
I've never seen that, but
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's good stuff. It's like a heavy duty motorcycle show. You'd love it.
Oh, that's just my thing.
Totally the kind of guy you are.
Yeah. Ashley Stubbs' shoulder is still jacked up from the last episode when he went after the guards with the axe and that terrible scene that was adjoining to the D&D cameo.
That's right. So Ashley Stubbs opens a beer with one hand, which I thought was pretty cool. Pretty good move for a robot.
Yeah, so they're basically trying to track down where Dolores will be, where Liam will be, and they're going to rush in, get next to him as close as they can, use the button, freeze Liam because they think Liam is a host, and take him with them.
Okay. And Liam is the the younger guy that is the head of
the one Dolores,
Insight or whatever the company name is.
Not Insight.
Recite. Where the Rehoboam lives.
Yeah, I think Insight was a different thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's some name to the company.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. So they're shopping for. Is that all for the Stubbs scene? For at least at this point.
Well, yeah, that's their plan. They're going to try and figure out where to go and intercept and get Liam before Dolores gets to Liam.
A little bit of a buddy cop vibe, too. Like they're in a hotel. James, you and I should travel in a hotel someday and go and visit and drink beers and have murders and steal like jade jewelry from New Mexico gift shops. All right, so Jesse is shopping.
Oh, but real quick though, as far as Liam knows, where is Laura? Laura is who he knows Dolores as. That's the identity that she stole and assumed when she went into this world.
I don't know. No idea.
He thinks she's dead because remember his top guy went out and tried to kill her and said it was a drug overdose.
Oh, yeah.
But instead he got killed and replaced himself. But that narrative was still told to him.
Oh, right.
to cover the fact that she was working behind the scenes.
That's what led up to Jesse or to Caleb meeting her under the bridge when she was wounded.
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right. Yeah, that's episode 1. So now Caleb is shopping for a suit with they're at like some kind of hipster shop. I like the new future technologies they've got. They've got the cool shopping AR system where the guy gets to press a button and it looks like he's wearing a suit. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, they already have. Is basically. Like, did you say augmented reality AR?
AR, yeah.
Did. Yeah. So yeah, just the same thing. And they already have things like that for like hairstyles and hair colors and things like that. So we're getting kind of close to
I think that's like a realistic sort of way that's going to do. Like it's sort of like putting paper dolls. You ever do the paper dolls when you're a kid with the little tabs?
I mean, I know of it, but I was never,
When I die, I want to have like an army of paper dolls buried. I want thousands of them buried in a Chinese monastery.
You mean like the terracotta warriors?
Like the terracotta warriors, exactly. But just shitty paper dolls, and they'll degrade in like 5 years, and then like my stinky dead body farts will kill them.
I'm just gonna wait until like all the J.C. Penney's go out of business, buy all their mannequins, and that will be my
but J.C.
forgotten J.C. Penney mannequins.
Mannequins are freaky.
Oh, they are.
My grandma owned a department store like in the 50s and 60s, and it was this old ass building, and me and my brothers would run around. Not in the 50s, but like it was in the 80s, and we would run around in the basement of this department store, like this old fucking building with all these mannequin parts and.
I mean, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised.
And not like good lighting, bad lighting, you know.
I mean, what's the difference between opening a big door and seeing all these mannequins standing in like a dark storage zone and the cold storage in Westworld? It's got to be like someone probably saw something like that and like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Where can I go with this?
Yeah, let's have sex with all of them.
Yeah.
Or they did already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mannequin. I like the mannequin factory. There's something funny about producing them. Making like what you wake up. You know, I tell my kids they're just mannequins, but they put food on the table. Mm-hmm. We make mannequins here at Thompson Mannequin Factory. All right, so the what am I missing here? So they buy the suit. Is there much to that scene? They're just sort of getting ready. They're gearing up. This is them sort of buying.
We know
outfits.
that Dolores needs to have Aaron Paul's character, Caleb Nichols, pretend to be one of them, as she says. We don't quite know who she's talking about or what her plan is for him, but she has this plot that she's orchestrating, which requires him to do something that she can't do necessarily.
And they trick a guy. She bumps him and she's like, I'm Olivia.
Yeah, and in the next couple of scenes we see that,
Do you think she killed him? She smashes his face.
Well, I mean, she didn't really need to kill him.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, he's probably just going to go out and wake up. All she really needed was something from his blood, like a key, a hash key or something.
They have an encryption key built into their blood now. So I guess that's like the modern or the futuristic version of taking a thumbprint. Like it actually checks something in your blood. So she injects it into Caleb. Right? That's pretty crazy.
But before all this goes down, Liam and Connolly have a meeting. Connolly being one of the replacement Connolly, so we don't really know who's inside him now. We just know that he's working for Dolores.
Yeah.
He makes Liam sign off on a tablet, which basically says, let me do what I do best, and you do what you do best. Give control to me in some respect. I'm not quite sure what the control is, but I assume it's some sort of financial lock in an account, because that feeds into the plan that's yet to come with the blood and the injection and the syringe and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But that does happen, and Liam willingly puts his thumb on the tablet because he has no reason not to trust Connolly.
Well, he was a little resistant, wasn't he?
I mean, he did it more willingly than I expected.
Yeah.
Because Connolly was like talking really dark and cryptic.
Right. The scene ends with him doing it. I kind of figured he wasn't going to agree during that scene, or they'd have to force it or something like that. Yeah. All right. So that's all good. So they get into this is okay.
Yeah. So this is the point. Immediately after that is when we see Dolores and Aaron Paul outside, and they bump into the man, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Right. And they get into the park, or they get into this like bank. It's like a fancy bank for scumbags or something.
Yeah,
extra security.
Yeah, she pretends to know him because they're going to a place called Anderson Private Equity.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. Which is where Liam's money is. This is the bank that holds his account.
Right. So Jesse first is resistant to the injecting this guy's blood into his stream. But she persuades him that it's necessary for the team.
Yeah.
And James and I had a brief little conversation about blood. Would that kill you right away? Maybe someone can let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
No, I think that they used to do blood transfusions without understanding that there are different blood types.
Yeah.
And that kind of works, but I don't think it kills you. I don't think you just like up and die, or it might. I think it makes you sick I don't know. And it didn't seem like it was very much, but
they get like an air bubble in there, it'll make you a little bit more sick.
Yeah, is that true? Do air bubbles really get you?
Maybe it's like a old, saying or something like that, but I always heard that if there's like an air bubble in your blood, because if you think about it, all your blood circulates to your heart and to your brain and everything like that, and if you've got a bubble in there, eventually that would get to your brain, and wouldn't that cause an aneurysm or something? Wouldn't that kill you?
I don't know. I think there's probably more going on than we understand, like gas exchanges and pressure differentials.
Well, I mean, like
stuff.
when you get the bends, when you're scuba diving, you can come up too fast, like nitrogen and stuff forms bubbles in your blood, and you're gone.
That's throughout your whole system.
Right, but just one, like the whole point is like everything in your system circulates. Your blood circulation system, so it all gets to vital places. Yeah,
they don't call it the stand still system.
Yeah.
I know, I hear you, and I've heard that too. I think I heard somewhere that's not actually that's much of a threat that people are afraid of. Like, when you watch your grandma like do the diabetes thing,
that's what I was about to say. They do that to make sure there's no like
flick it to and then squirt it out. Yeah, I think it looks cool. The flicking it with the fingernail, and then like the squirting out the little bit of poison or insulin.
It's like the most cliche thing ever. Like every movie where there's ever an injection, they do that. The close up of that whole thing.
Because the filmmaker can't resist getting that cool little stream of liquid squirting out of the end of the hypodermic needle. I think if I were betting, I would say that like an air bubble's fine. Let's go get some. Let's inject me with some air bubbles.
I will pass on the air bubble test.
Yeah,
you should do it. Let's start a trend thing on what is it on TikTok? Yeah, air bubble challenge. Do it.
Hey everybody, you should insert yourself with an air bubble. And then like 14 teenagers die, and then I go to jail for being their god.
And then all they give you to eat in jail are Tide Pods. And you have to do the ice bucket challenge every day.
Yeah, the cinnamon challenge every morning.
And then a very large man will plank on you.
I wanted to do the ice bucket challenge. That's the one where, if people don't remember, where you say, "Hey, I'm going to name someone else," and then they have to dump water on their head, like I'm about to do for Lou Gehrig's disease or something like that. I wanted to do the exact same thing, but then instead of dumping water on my head, like frozen cold water, I wanted to open up my pants and pull out what I had rigged up to look like my wiener, but it'd be like a stunt. It'd be like and then squirt it in my mouth. I just wanted to do it and then pee in my mouth. I never followed through on this plan because I used to work with aquariums, so I know I could poke up like a pump to like a hose and it would like squirt really hard. You just put a little tube and then you blur it. You blur it in the video, so no one ever sees anything. You just do the fake. You could take the news and just blur like the person's like groin and it looks like they've got their junk out. Put a little flesh colored piece of like a PNG file on there, Yes. What do you think?
Okay.
This is like 6 years. That's just a fever dream I had when that thing was coming. I was like, it'd be funny if okay. All right. So then what? Now,
one thing I hated about the scene though is like when she takes the blood sample from the guy by knocking him out, she goes full Terminator, full broad daylight, people walking around everywhere, a very high through travel place, man in the business suit, shoves him up against like a bus stop. He's crumpled down, takes the sample, and just walks away like Terminator Dolores again. Now, with all the futuristic cameras and surveillance and tracking and witnesses, and come on.
Right. You think that she'd get noticed. You think they'd just have like everybody would just be wearing a body cam. There'd just be some sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like in today's society, who doesn't have a cell phone out that they can start recording with at the drop of a hat?
Right.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
It's like we're moving towards a world where everything is going to be noticed and captured and recorded, and they're supposedly in that world right now, and yet she's murdering men on... Oh, no, she didn't. Well, she didn't do that. It was Charlotte Hale who murdered the man on the bench and took his freaking dog. Oh, yeah. I mean, come on.
Well, like when Dolores knocked out that guy, someone should have showed up and started shouting "World Star! World Star!"
Oh, good Lord.
Okay, so let's keep going though. So there's a little bit of a tense thing with like the verifying your thumb, and then is it failed? Oh, perspiration. Oh, and so then they get started. So they're able to like take all the guy's money.
Yeah.
Or they withdrew all of his money.
All of Liam's money. And the whole thing is that she says that we have to hurry because the track or the tag or whatever it is that I put into your blood degrades within 20 minutes. So you gotta hurry. And it degrades even faster the faster your heart beats.
Right.
And we know that he's prone to anxiety and things because he's a human being and all human beings are. And he was pushed to the edge and had his like tracker thing in his not tracker, but his mechanical thing in his mouth manipulated to the point where they can connect him to a tablet and it raised his heartbeat up, and it was a very unpleasant scene. But
right. Yeah. So we don't want
And we know he has PTSD as well,
Right.
which does not do a whole lot of great things to your ability to stay calm and for your heartbeat to stay at rest because you're tormented.
especially not while committing a crime, like
Right.
pretending to be a guy's financial representative and stealing all this millions of money.
There's a bit of stress there. While the Strange super strong, which he now knows is super strong, because she's just dragging bodies around like they were nothing and throwing them into cars, while this crazy one-dimensional character Terminator is standing next to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I like a strong woman though, don't you? Just kick my ass, baby. Just beat me up.
So the problem is that Dolores has always been a strong character. She's always
Yeah.
been a strong, intriguing character with a lot of three-dimensional characteristics. And now they've just turned her into a physically strong character.
Yeah, as they should though.
And they took everything else away.
That's not true. She still has like the personality. She's she's in game mode. She's like a good coach. She knows how to execute a plan.
Yeah.
You know, like Luke, the Perlman. No, that's absolutely not what I meant. Lou from the Fighting Irish.
What?
Lou Holtz.
Who?
Don't worry, someone listening understands what I'm talking about. It's a sports thing, James.
Oh.
It's something manly men like to talk
Talking to the
about.
wrong person.
Okay. You don't know who Lou Pearlman is?
No, I know Ron Perlman. I know Lou Gehrig. Is that their baby?
I met Ron Perlman. I shook his hand and I go, I liked City of Lost Children. He goes, okay. You didn't give a fuck. I don't blame him. Why would he care?
Was he the guy in the opening of Fallout 4 who says war never changes?
War never changes.
Was that him?
I have no idea. Could be. He's got that voice.
Don't talk to him about Hellboy, though. He's still sore about that.
What, he has opinions about it?
Oh, yeah, strong opinions.
Oh, because he got replaced.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He was not a happy camper.
Well, he got old. He's not as tall as you'd think. He's actually like probably 5'11".
Ooh.
I really like he doesn't, maybe he's gotten hunched over. He's probably older. Like a lot of these, like Danny Trejo's like 140. You know, like these guys, they get
He's
like
older
70,
than I thought.
They get like 70 years old and they're still doing like action movies and stuff
Oh.
because they just have that brand. Yeah, he like Ron Perlman feels like he'd be like 6'5", but he's really maybe 6. But like he's pretty. Yeah.
Oh, when he's Hellboy, I guess the hubs push him up a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. But he's big. I mean, he's a very identifiable person.
Yeah.
Enough about that. So what's next? And
The next scene we are back with Serac, and he's bringing Maeve back online because, as we know, that's the last person she was with, and she immediately says, "Is this another simulation?" Because he's in this big elaborate restaurant,
right?
And he goes, "Oh, not a simulation; it's Singapore."
Yeah,
and I think she says something to the effect of, "Oh, if he really wanted to impress me, he would have taken me to Paris."
Right.
And he goes, "Oh, I wish I could have taken you there. My brother and I grew up in Paris, but it is no longer." There. Yeah. And it cuts to this very intriguing scene where it's him as a young boy running through a field, and you made a very good comment.
Well, it looked like Robert Ford. I didn't catch the other kid, or either whichever one was which one, but like it was so fast. It looked like the kid was wearing the vest and the white shirt, like the white sleeve. I don't know. It just seemed like that was Robert Ford, and it was sort of a Westworld-ish sort of amber, grainy field. You know, something.
Now, the only thing I can say about that is that if he's running through a field playing with his brother, that means that his brother would have to be relatively the same age as him. And Anthony Hopkins appeared to be much older than this guy does. Now, this guy is not a young guy.
That's true.
But But if it turns out that's the truth, that part will bug me a little bit.
The age difference,
right? But I can see them doing that.
Yeah, maybe
because it's an interesting. They wouldn't have shown that to us if there was no reason for it.
Who else could it have been? Or like what would be another...
I mean, if I had to put my chips in one basket, if that's how chips in a basket, my eggs go in a basket, chips go in the basket, the eggs go on the table.
Yeah, don't cash out all your eggs at one time. Yeah.
Don't count your eggs before the chickens.
Exactly.
Actually, that kind of makes sense. Before they hatch, they become chickens.
The chickens come home to roost. That one's correct.
Cool your horses.
That's right.
I knew some guy who used to say it all the time. Instead of hold your horses, he would cool your jets and hold your horse. He goes, "Whoa, man, cool your horses."
What do you say? Like, I'm so hungry I could eat a jet.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is we should probably quit talking about this because it's just like we're beating off a dead horse.
Yes.
All right, that entertained me more than I expected. So she believes him, or I don't know what the fuck. I don't honestly care that much. I'm getting a little fucking tired of this goddamn show, to be honest.
Okay, so he's telling her all the reasons why their interests effectively align. Well, back to the Paris thing. It shows a clip of like a biohazard truck, and the dog that the kid was. I couldn't tell if it was a dog or like a mountain lion or a cougar or something.
I thought it was a deer, but
it was some kind of animal. But it was dead in the field, as if to say you can't go to Paris anymore. There was some sort of contagion or something. Gee, I wonder what that would be like.
There was a nuclear explosion.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I was taking pictures with my phone. I don't know if I caught the nuke shot, but no, it was some kind of mushroomy looking cloud. So something bad went down.
Yeah. So, if I remember correctly, he was saying things to her like, "You need to be on my side." He reiterated the need for her to go after Dolores, and he said how he knew what Dolores was doing. He knew that she brought 5 pearls with her outside of the company. He knew that he basically took her to the house, the Bernard Arnold's old house, which I couldn't tell if they were literally in Singapore, or if he was jumping between realities, because if he was not, that means that he is physically in Singapore and that Arnold's house is physically in Singapore, and that's where the city is. So it's not America. I don't really know, though. But they find the table which they did the reprint, and he starts connecting dots for her. And he basically says, I own this program, the Divergence program that we've been talking about. And in doing so, I wanted to understand humanity perfectly. I wanted to recreate humanity with this algorithm, with this program. And I spend all my time and energy and wealth to do this. And then I come to find that someone else has taken it a step further. They mapped the entire human mind. And who did it? A theme park of all places.
Right.
So this is why he starts buying up controlling shares, and why he did everything he did from season 1, trying to get the data from Sector 16 and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. He wants what they have because predicting human behavior is where all of his power comes from.
Yeah, just ask Mark Zuckerberg.
Right. And so, but he can't do that effectively until he gets the encryption key, which is in Dolores' head. And he says Maeve's interests align with his, because he says, where's the most perfect place that you can go? There's a place in this world for you. And she goes, here? He goes, oh, no, not in this world. My kind and your kind will never live together successfully. What I'm talking about is putting you in the same place where your daughter is, which is uploaded to that uplink satellite or something in a perfect non-corporeal world, where she can finally be reunited with the one thing in the world she loved, which was her digital daughter.
Her digital daughter.
Digital daughter, yeah. So now she's held to his will because he has the magic button and he's kind of holding all the cards. But now it kind of makes sense why she would be at war with Dolores. He put something on the table that she really wants. And in order to get that, she has to go through Dolores. So that creates a pretty good point of conflict.
Right. But, okay, I'm going to sound dumb here for the first time. I know people will be shocked. Were she and Dolores working together before this season? Like, their storylines, did they overlap much? I don't recall them really. They never quite did they?
No,
because Maeve was kind of a general of the uprising. She sort of enabled the Westworld uprising, kind of, right?
And he spoke to that too. He said Dolores came out of that park needing allies, and she brought with her 5 pearls. Notice she didn't choose you, Maeve.
Yeah, okay.
That was kind of his way of driving a wedge further between the two of them.
Yeah.
And you tell that, I'm showing Hank a picture of my iPad right now with the screenshot on it. And it shows the 2 boys in the field.
Right.
It doesn't look like they have much difference in age there.
No,
it's not an easy to see picture, but
it's tough to say. It's hard to say. But one of the kids definitely does have white sleeves on his shirt. And with like kind of
a schoolboy like uniform type thing going on.
Could be the robot, and maybe he built the robot and sent him back in time just to be his brother's brother.
Could be.
Like instead of Skynet sending shit back that's killers, they just send back brothers to be. It made no sense.
And they do make a very obvious attempt to show a close up of him as a young boy.
Yeah.
As if to say, you should remember this face because this is going to come back at some point in time, perhaps in a big reveal.
Probably going to see him again.
They wouldn't have done this for no reason.
Yeah. So we'll get some childhood reveals coming up here. All right. Well done.
And this guy
is this where
does Sirach kind of look to you like maybe like a cousin of Hugh Laurie?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I like that. And by the way, have you watched any Avenue 5?
I skipped straight to Avenue 7.
Motherfucker, you fucking piece of shit. When I give you an order, you follow it. Seesaw motor functions, bitch.
I have no motor
Resume
functions.
watching Avenue 5. I by the way, I didn't see any of the comments from the last episode. So anybody out there, if you've seen Avenue 5, let me know in the comments, and hopefully I'll read them. I will this week. I definitely will. All right. So Serac, is this where the concepts of heaven and hell are discussed, or is that later on?
No, I think this is the point in time. Like, they go and they find where Dolores did her dirty work to reprint herself, and then they go into the side room, and this is where things start getting kind of crazy, where we get an idea of who the true villains are, because right now Serac hasn't really done anything that tells me he's a maniacal, evil person. True. He has his desire for power, but we haven't really seen him cause outward harm to someone until he walked to the next room and there's this guy tied to a chair.
Jiang, right?
Yeah, Jiang or something like that.
Jiang, I think. And he's speaking Chinese, and he is the guy who I don't remember. Who is he? Oh, he's an identity broker. All right. James is tapping the 10-second fast forward button on his iPad, and it's really helpful. But so this is the person that they had hired to
that Dolores had hired.
Go ahead. You finish this sentence.
Dolores needed 5 new personalities. This guy, being an identity broker, essentially works with people in the underground to provide false identification and false biometric chips and whatever they use in the future to fool a system into thinking that you're someone that you're not.
Yeah, like if I wanted to change my identity, I'd go to him.
Right. So it makes sense that she comes in and she has 4 pearls with her. Mm-hmm. So 5 people total. 5 new identities needed, because she can't just walk into a city and go, "I'm Dolores Abernathy." It doesn't really work that way, because they'll know to look for that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so they're torturing him, and the guy's being a real jerk to him. He's all bloody and beat up, and
right. But what does Serac have? And this is a good example of the
Serac has some glasses.
Right, but what does Serac know? What is Serac's power, basically?
He knows what motivates people.
Yes, he's a predictive algorithm. So he knows how to manipulate people by hitting them where they fear things the most.
You know the question that comes up throughout your life where people say, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? You know that I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That premise. What would be yours?
Mine is the boring one.
Would it be having me as your roommate?
No,
because you've already got that.
No, It's going to sound funny coming from me, because this is my greatest fear in the world. My greatest fear of all time. I still have horrific nightmares about it. Heights freak the crap out of me, because I've fallen out of a lot of trees. I've fallen off of barn silos. I've been pushed off roofs. I've hurt myself quite a bit as a result of the force of gravity slamming me into the ground.
Someone else hurt you, it sounds like. You had a pretty traumatizing childhood, it sounds like.
Especially with falling. Do
you want to come to therapy with me sometime? We'll call it couples therapy.
Yes. But the power of flight, what does that do? It eliminates the fear of falling, because you can't fall if you can fly.
So your superpower would be flight?
My superpower would be eliminating my fear, which is flight.
Wait, your superpower would be
flight? No, flight would eliminate my fear. My greatest fear in this world is falling.
Yeah. Well, what if you still had the fear, but then you could fly?
I wouldn't have the fear if I knew I could fly. There's nothing to worry about. If I'm standing on top of a...
But you should just wish for the fear to go away, not to be able to fly.
Well, flying is fun as well.
Oh, okay.
I would imagine that would be fun. and simply not being afraid of heights is a lot less cool of a superpower than being able to fly.
That's true, right? Yeah, like you just feel okay going to like a tall mall now. Like, let's go to the roof. I'm totally fine. Like, wow, what a badass. It's okay. Flight's
that would still be a great upgrade for me. Is like, I can get near the edge of a building without my palms turning into swamps.
So you get all sweaty and
God, yeah, it is just a hard, and then I just want to fall down to the ground and grab onto something.
Oh man,
it's bad.
I imagine it also has to do with the lack of control you might have felt when you were a young boy, feeling when someone pushes you off a roof.
Yeah, I think it's mostly the sensation of slamming into the ground that did it. That's the one that really hammers it into your psyche.
There's a trust violation. Trust violations are very durable in kids in the psyche of children. When somebody's trust is broken or violated, especially in a violent or physically, damaging way, it can take some time. But you can like hurt a kid and then immediately be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did not mean that." Oh my, and like that's a repair of the trust immediately, and that can actually be okay. But like, yeah, trust is bad. But also being pushed off a roof, that sucks.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, your superpower should just be that you can summon a big pile of marshmallows whenever you need one, right before impact.
Yes.
And then you land. I always would say, and this is why I brought this up, because it relates to the show, I always answered that question with the word persuasion. If you can persuade people...
So a Jedi mind trick.
Basically, yeah. Like, if you could persuade people to do anything, you can control the world. I would be in command of Barack Obama, and I would say, Barack, make Castlevania Season 3 a little bit better than it was.
Oh, God.
Okay?
Or how about just delete Castlevania Season 3 from the world and redo it in a way that makes it good.
He's got connections at Netflix.
Oh, good Lord. The first 2 seasons, I love this. Fantastic show. Season 3 is...
Did you finish it?
Yeah, as much as I could stomach.
How far did
it took me forever. It's basically it's castle porn.
Yeah,
it's all it is.
It's all love story stuff.
It's just. I didn't want to think about it.
It turned into like a Mexican soap opera, but about like Transylvania or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Castlevania is a good show.
It was a good show.
That's why I brought it up. I knew it would be upsetting for James. Sorry for violating your trust, James. Can I help repair your trust in me now? I push you off.
So Jing,
okay,
puts the glasses on, and what is Jing?
He sees his family being tortured, and he's like, "Okay, no, don't hurt. Let's just hurry it up. Like, we gotta get fucking."
Yeah. So he basically says, "I'm showing you an image of what happens if you cooperate and what happens if you don't cooperate." So obviously, we know we're seeing what happens if we don't cooperate because we can hear women screaming and stuff like that, and he's emotionally distressed. So he essentially gives up the information that he wouldn't necessarily have otherwise given up. And he says, I put her into contact with the mortician. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, great. I've got what I needed to know. And then he shoots the man in the head regardless. Yeah. Though, which cements for us that Serac is an evil guy.
Pretty evil.
And Serac was saying, well, whether he knew it or not, he was a traitor to his kind. So Serac is very much so on, a humanity versus host type thing. He is on Team Humanity and he hates the hosts.
Serac does.
Yes.
Is that really... I mean, wouldn't it be more like that he wants to own the host for himself?
Yeah, he doesn't. He
doesn't see them as like a philosophical threat.
Well, he explicitly says there is no world, no future where we can live together. It's us and then them. Are you one of them or are you one of us?
Right.
Are you you're a traitor to humanity, therefore you must die, even though you didn't know it.
Yeah, no.
So that paints a pretty clear picture that he stands very far on the side of yay humanity.
I think it's more just yay him. Like, he doesn't necessarily give a shit about the rest of. I mean, he does.
Well, I mean, he's not.
I think that the construct is weird. Like, he would use the hosts for his own purposes.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I'm parsing out that what's the right word I'm looking for? I don't think it's as binary as that, I guess is what I mean. Which is, I get it. I hear you though. Because he is a human but it's not like he's like in team, he's not reading Carl Sagan at night to bed, which is all, pretty inspiring stuff. Pale Blue Dot and all that. All right. So then they murder him. He's an evil guy. And he says that Maeve gets the idea now that if she can help him, she'll be able to see her daughter. But I also think that Maeve has no other options here. She's going to go with this guy, but I think she might turn on him at some point.
Yeah, he's very big at saying my kind and your kind, though. He draws that line very often the way he speaks intentionally. Yeah,
no doubt. And that's to him, and he's obviously no one in his position would. He's probably been. It has been reinforced that he's correct. People who are very successful tend to not hear the word no very often, and he probably thinks he's right. So he has confidence in his assessment, no doubt.
And then he asserts control and dominance over her again by saying that your mind is very complex, but not so complex that we couldn't build an off switch into it.
Yeah.
Which he showed that he could do it at the end of the last episode, or not the end of the first episode, and at the beginning of this episode when he restored her motor functions.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right, so we're back in the apartment with good old Man in Black.
Man in Black is...
Well, man and wife beater, which is like very... I don't like that term, but that is the term. It is what it is.
I think the word wife beater's hanging on a little bit, but probably one of those words that...
It's a bad word. It's not one that should be around.
Yeah, we should... Well, to make up for it, for the next, 200 years, we should call it a husband beater.
You could.
Yeah. So, all right, he's wearing his husband beater. Mm-hmm. And then after 200 years, we'll just call it a shirt.
Nah. But it's an undershirt. It's what it is, It's like, what? Yeah. I don't know.
Do you ever wear those kind of shirts?
No.
I could see you looking pretty cool in one.
No,
like strutting down the street.
Wearing a shirt with no sleeves to me is just weird.
Yeah, I bet it feels kind of liberating, though.
I couldn't do that. I feel like my arms are naked.
Yeah. I would feel like my armpit is, I don't know, oozing or something. I don't know. It'd be weird. Yeah, I've never actually worn a husband beater.
Yeah. So,
but he's using a straight razor. First of all, he's sitting and he's looking into a mirror that has bullet holes.
Yeah, it's a continuation of the last scene that we saw where he's getting ready. Charlotte Hale says the two executives are still outside. They're going to take you to the board meeting. I need your help. Blah 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 blah. And you mentioned that he's shaving with a very old razor.
Yeah,
because he's old school. Because he loved Westworld. This was his whole thing. Futuristic. You'd have like laser razors, but not him. But it also was it put me on the edge a little bit because we don't know who's in Charlotte Hale.
No. Well,
and we know that whoever it is a friend of Dolores, which means that she's going to be adversarial towards him. And he says, can you go ahead and help me finish shaving? And then once again, we have this mystery person who we've seen murder people before and say how gleeful it was to make her or him feel in doing it when they killed the man on the bench.
Right. So
we know this is a big threat, and yet... doesn't happen.
He gives her the razor and she starts shaving him herself. This is like a thing in movies too. Theon and Roose Bolton's son Ramsey. Mm-hmm. They did a razor scene where he shows how much he's been broken, so that he trusts him to not cut his neck. It's kind of a trope, I would say, the straight razor, because it is pretty threatening, like a weird little handled razor thing.
Yeah.
And it's and shaving is a very vulnerable and open thing that they can easily cut your neck. I would let not anybody, but if I would let an intimate partner shave me all over. I got back hair for miles.
And it explains why he rides a razor scooter when he's in Westworld
and speaks on a razor phone.
Yes.
and plays World of Warcraft because he likes to raise villages or towns.
That's why he also became a businessman, so he can give himself a raise.
And that's why his favorite band is the California Raisins.
Okay, that's...
And he wants to raise children to be healthy, well-adjusted adults. Not. Yeah. Okay.
And that's why his skin's all messed up, because he always soaks in the rays.
And his two favorite writers are Ray Bradbury and Ray K. Rowling.
Okay.
The two Rays.
Yeah.
I was hoping I could come up with another Ray.
I think we scraped the bottom of the barrel, then broke the bottom, and now we're in the dirt below the barrel.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. Very good. We had fun with that one.
So as they're talking, Charlotte is basically telling him that there was a mole inside the company that led to the hostile takeover. Someone was feeding information to Serac, and even information on projects that were so secretive that only Charlotte and William were aware of it. Yeah. He gets kind of mad and says, well, maybe it's you. No one, you were in a position to do that. Mm-hmm. And they have a little bit of a tense discussion between the two of them.
Correct.
And then we go back to Dolores and Caleb.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the scene where they get the money. We've already kind of covered that, I think, right?
Yeah, we did kind of,
we jumped ahead. That's okay. We don't need to go beat by beat.
So basically, they're in the bank, and there's all this tense crap where he's doing the biometric readings. He goes, I didn't get a clear reading, and so forth. We don't know if they're going to get the money, if they're going to be found out. Dolores says if it doesn't go the way that she wants it to go, she's going to have to kill everyone in there and go full Terminator mode. So this first read doesn't go through as well in the final authentication. She reaches for a gun. Is she going to be Terminator? Is she not going to be Terminator? Mm-hmm. So when the biometric goes through, he wipes his hand, the perspiration's gone, goes through, everything's fine, we're good, next scene.
Yeah, very good. Well done. I'm hoping someday that they do show like a POV shot of Dolores's viewpoint, and it's like got red, and it says "target identified" or something like that. You know that like biometric crap.
Yeah, it'd be great if there was like all this like kill, and somewhere like in there is like powdered milk. Yeah, you just can't get that out of there.
There's a little Teddy just running around. Yeah. Okay, so then Maeve goes there in Singapore, right? Is that
right? So Maeve is essentially doing the bidding of Serac. What they know from the torturing of Jing is that she got her 5 identities, she being Dolores, from the mortician. Mm-hmm. So they use the information. I'm assuming that Serac was able to figure out where the mortician was.
Yeah.
Based on...
They went to the mortician, right?
That's where she's going right now. Yeah, but the interesting thing about this is that as she walks around, she's hearing like all the static and talking and electronic signals, and she's able to filter it out. Right. And it's almost like lights are flickering and sparking out as she goes. So I don't know if she's been getting some sort of like because most people have implants and things like that, and she can control that. Mm. So it's showing that she's kind of more powerful now. Did Serac enhance her? Did he unlock some of her powers because now she's a warrior for him? Not quite sure.
She's like a really high-powered Bluetooth receiver or something.
Yeah,
like
she's
picking up all these other little fields around her.
Yeah, she's definitely on the prowl for what she's looking for. And what she's looking for is the Mortician. And the Mortician is in this building, this nightclub.
The Mortician told them about it. And then that the Mortician is the one that turned her on to the Yakuza. I think, based on what you're looking at, that's going into the Yakuza right there.
Oh, did we miss the Mortician?
I think you jumped over it, yeah.
Okay.
In the guide that you're using right now, which our viewers can't see. So,
right.
So she goes to like a nightclub. It's sort of a cool, they got some pastel colors, some neon shiny lights and stuff. And, those nightclubber people, there's always like a purple wall and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh, no, this is the Mortician.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so the Mortician
it's like
was
a secret part
Yeah, she was behind the nightclub.
I'm sorry. Why did I try to drive for a second? Fucked it all up. All right, so she learns from the Morticians. It's another one of these goddamn gross scenes where we have to stare at a person wearing jelly all over their chests. These decapitated mid-autopsy bodies. I am a little tired of all the skin cutting in every fucking show. Maybe it just shows the kind of stuff I choose to watch. But for years, I feel like all we ever see are skin being cut open and bodies being ripped open and needles entering people's skin, knives, and it's just enough. Fucking enough.
Poor guy at the door got his wing blown off.
Guy got his wang blown off, but at least we didn't have to see the wang blow off. We just had it implied.
Oh, I didn't mean to say it. Well, yeah.
What, the wing?
Yeah, because that might be seen as an insensitive term because...
because it's
that's not at all what I meant, but yes.
Does that have a... I don't think... Does it?
No, it doesn't, but I'm creating false connections in my head to...
Like, you could use the word wang in a derogatory
use
manner, but I don't think calling a weenie a wang is... But I don't understand how it would connect to like a race in that sense.
Yeah, but this is to set the record straight, to not mean it that way.
I like calling vaginas hoo-ha. That's one of my favorite ones.
Well, that's what Al Pacino does.
My hoo-ha.
Yeah. Son of a woman.
You killed walking your doggy.
It's from the movie Son of a Woman where he did the hoo-ha thing. He was a blind guy. Yeah, good movie.
Yeah, good movie. If you're blind, you're going to have an increased sense of smell. And that's the last thing I'm going to say about that. All right, so there's a whole bunch of blood bags and hanging around and stuff. And what does she learn from the Mortician, though?
So the first thing is the Mortician starts trying to call for help using her implant. And then Maeve starts freaking it out and doing interference. She goes, well, let's keep this private.
Right.
So basically, the Mortician now knows that Maeve has some considerable amount of power. Mm-hmm. And she's already taken out the guards in the front, gotten to her. And the Mortician essentially says, she came to me looking for something. And what she really wanted was bodies. And I don't deal in bodies in that sense, so I had to connect her to the Yakuza.
To the Yakuza.
Yeah.
Now, did that feel like a trope and like kind of like a lame... I mean, Yakuza's real. It is the Japanese mafia. I imagine that it's a lot more nuanced than my dumb American brain currently understands. I'm not in any way an expert on it whatsoever. I know they give tattoos and they like cut their fingers off or some shit.
Yeah, they started off as a J-pop band.
Yeah.
And then the Crazy 88 came by, but Uma Thurman killed all them.
Uma Thurman got him.
Yeah.
I know. And Lucy Liu,
yeah.
So, whatever, though. But, like, they're real. Like, they're a thing.
Yeah.
So...
And you generally don't want to mess with them.
No, I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't mess with people who aren't in the Yakuza. I definitely not going to mess with the Yakuza guys. Like, so, whatever. So, she ends up looking for Yakuzas to try to find... Go ahead. You can keep going.
Yeah. So basically, she sends her over to the Yakuza. Right. Meanwhile, we are left to flashing back to Liam at one of these rich, fancy parties. And we can tell it's a coronavirus party because everyone's wearing masks.
Yeah. to protect the skin around their eyes.
Yes.
From, it's sort of this like a eyes wide shut set scenario. These kind of fancy ball, white bow ties and... beautiful looking evening gowns and all sorts of stuff are they shopping for the models or is like people standing?
It's basically just like a perverted auction for bidding on the right to have your way with models up on platforms.
With these attractive
escorts. And this is just like something like the ultra wealthy would do. And he's like, it's all for charity and stuff. And Liam's like, this isn't really my thing. I don't want to really be here. Mm-hmm. And all this kind of stuff. But then he eventually gets with the flow of it and tries to put a bid in on one of the people.
Yeah.
At which point in time he realizes that all his funds are gone.
Right.
Because they've been taken. And this is the event which is important because this is the event where Bernard and Ashley Stubbs predicted he would be, and this is where they're going to try and get in there, get close to him, cease his motor function, because again, they still believe him to already have been replaced by a host at this point, and to get him out of there. But Dolores is also coming for him at the same time.
Right. So a lot of things are culminating here. Yeah,
so we see Dolores coming to the party. Caleb is with her. They got their masks on. The guy tries to make a bid on a person, like we mentioned. He loses the bid because he can't make the bid because he doesn't have any money, because Ashley Stubbs now has the money.
Right.
And then Ashley Stubbs sees Dolores trying to... I think Dolores actually pulls out a gun and starts taking some shots at Liam. She wants him dead.
At Liam?
Yeah, she shoots at him.
Oh.
Maybe she was shooting at Bernard or someone.
Well, Bernard and Stubbs had used first Bernard tried to use the device to tell him what to do.
Right. And then they figure out
Stubbs said, no, we do it my way. And so they used a gun.
Well,
so they were trying to get him out of there.
Well, yeah, they use the device, and then Bernard has a realization the device is not working. He's like, oh my God, she hasn't gotten to you yet. She hasn't replaced you yet. She's left you in play. She's left you active. Well, you need to come with us. We need to protect you.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. And
but he goes on, like, it's a kidnapping.
Yes.
For his safety.
Yes, he has no idea what's going on right now.
Yeah. So she does shoot at them, I think.
Yeah, and as far as he knows, the Dolores, a.k.a. Laura, is still dead.
Yeah.
So, and then Ashley, of course, has to stop Dolores, which is ridiculous because you think about it, two hosts, they're both hosts, that part we know now. One was designed to be a helpless, pawn in a depraved game played by multimillionaires. The other guy was the head of security. You would think that he would have better fighting, tactics in his head. And,
yeah.
But, she beats the crap out of him, then he starts getting the upper hand on her, and then she gets the upper hand on him, and eventually flings him over a table, over a banister, and he crashes down below. But nobody in the room seems to think too much of it because they're all high on this like new future age, like ecstasy type thing.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting back going, whoa, man, cool, and all that kind of
A
stuff.
couple people saw it happening.
Yeah, how convenient to have two Terminators fighting each other in the open air, and no one seems to give a crap.
That's you know what? Rich people get up to some weird stuff.
Yeah,
man.
and why is that when Ashley Stubbs gets punched in the face, his nose bleeds and he gets all messed up, but he nails her right in the face, no blood whatsoever?
Well, she's made from new materials, and she's like a fresh copy, right? Like
but still,
outside printer, like
but still, like not even a hair out of place.
Well, she's got it tightly wrapped up in one of those lady bun things. Maybe there's something to that. I don't know. Yeah. So. Anyway, they're able to get away from them. Meanwhile, Maeve is investigating the Yakuza, right?
Yeah.
This is where she's looking for the boss of one of them, and she's
with the mortician.
She brings the mortician
because the mortician knows where they are, and so
okay.
she needed her to lead her there. So
right.
They just kind of walk right in because she's able to look at the little the pin code and just hack it with her mind and walks right in.
Right.
And the Yakuza are not pleased to see her, but she's able to get the upper hand on them because of why?
They have automatic gun or auto-aiming guns.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, aren't you a little, it's not real manly to use a...
Aren't you a little old to have a gun aiming for you?
Yeah. So she hits him at where it hurts in his masculinity. And she immediately, of course, since she's the Yas queen of the Bluetooth empire, she controls all their weapons, basically. And she sort of forces them all to, like, murder each other with their little aiming guns. I thought that was kind of neat, though, the automatic gun aiming thing.
Yeah.
It seems to me that the future will be full of automatic aiming. I feel like there's got to be a time where no fired projectile pretty much ever misses because of some sort of automatic, like, gimbal system. You know how jets have, like, the output of where the flame comes out the back, like airplane, like the fighter jets? And that thing has a little adjuster flaps that like move it back and forth to change its... Like, I feel like guns are going to have something similar in their way that they shoot. So this is somewhat realistic to me, other than the fact that she so easily killed all of them. I thought that was a little bit silly.
But here's the bad part.
What I'm talking about, though, is blaster rifles.
Yeah.
In Star Wars, everybody knows, and this is not... this is pretty hacky to even talk about, but like how bad the aim is in Star Wars. They have all this incredible technology, and the fucking dudes can't barely shoot. First of all, their training sucks.
Yeah.
But wouldn't they have automatic aiming things? Because you don't need maybe they do need some sort of rifle barrel, but like a gun, you can't necessarily change the angle. You have to have the whole barrel change angle, unless there's some sort of curvy thing that changes the way it shoots out or whatever. But I doubt that. With a laser, I don't think you need as much. It'd be easier to auto-aim a laser is my point.
I mean, the problem is...
Trust me, I've thought about this for the minute that I've been talking about it.
Like, the first stormtroopers, maybe his aim sucked, and then they just cloned them all.
That's
It's like, well, you get what you clone.
yeah. Well, why'd we pick the worst one?
Yeah. Oops. But I know that, for people who are into Star Wars, like Mandalorian and stuff, there's a certain point in time where they're not all clone troopers, and the Clone Wars haven't started yet, so they're all individual people and all that kind of stuff. So that's some very misinformed bad joke, but I'm aware of that.
I made the bad joke?
No, I am.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair. Yeah. Well, the good aiming or accurate aiming would be bad for a lot of movies and shows.
Right. Like,
so if people just shot whatever they were shooting at, you just have a lot of dead protagonists.
Yeah, but here is a good example of why I don't like that. Is like I played a very little bit of Red Dead Redemption 2. I didn't play a whole lot of it. I had more fun watching you play it than I did play it. But there was a certain scene where I met this random guy out in the wilderness, and he was like, "Oh, I bet you can't shoot down 6 birds before I can shoot down 6 birds." I was like, "Okay, fine, old man, I got you." So I'm looking in the air. I'm using all analog sticks. I suck with controllers. But they have this little aim assist thing where it locks on the targets as you get certain, relatively close to them. And I swear to you, I'm not making this up. This actually happened. Birds are flying by, and I'm locking on and go boom, 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 boom. And as I do this, zoomed in, a train goes by, and it immediately locks onto the head of the conductor at the front of the train, and I blow his head off. And everyone starts screaming, and the train comes to a screeching halt, and they're like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" And I fail the mission, and I got to run off with a bounty on my head while the cops chase me through the wilderness. That is not what I wanted to do. The gun made that choice for me.
Well, this is why I'm taking away your gun, James.
Yes.
I don't think you should you'd be allowed to have it anymore. That's hilarious. So you just accidentally shot the train guy.
I thought he was a bird.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a train conductor. Yeah. Shoot him. That's so funny. Yeah. Well, the nice thing about shooting a train conductor is they're not going to wipe out. They're not going to swerve.
He's not going to go off the rails.
Yeah. Exactly. Literally. I mean, they could crash eventually.
Yeah, the reason I shot him is because I choosed him.
Oh, nice.
Simpsons reference.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine. Gotta get him. Fuck that show. Fuck that violent show. Yeah, so that's so funny. All right, so enough with the auto. So she gets in and she sees she meets the boss, and it turns out, I mean, there's really nothing else to say, right? Like, it turns out the boss guy is...
Yeah, she has a big battle scene. She gets through a bunch of them, and I think it actually cuts away before we find out definitively what happens there.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and just do it out of order. Yeah, she finds the guy at the very end. She recognizes him from Shogun World. It's a character from the park. Musashi or something like that, yeah. And that's when this giant, mind-blowing revelation comes into play that ties all these events together and starts making things make sense.
Yeah.
And what's the big, mind-blowing
Well, I didn't connect exactly why she knew that this was the case or what helped her understand this. You probably do. But it turns out the copies that Dolores smuggled out, well, the pearls are copies of herself. Right? Yeah. So
Bernard and the rest are all her.
Well, yeah. Bernard is her too?
No. She brings out Bernard. He's the one with the red on it, the red pearl.
We said Bernard and the rest are all her. I was like...
Yes, there's Bernard, and then the rest are all her.
I got you. Okay. So, she is her. Musashi is her.
Yes.
Charlotte is her.
Hale is her. And Connolly is her.
Whatever. So, there's 4 Dolores operating systems in 4 different bodies. One of them is the actual Dolores, or at least the recently printed Dolores. This fucking show.
So Teddy theory is out the window.
Oh yeah, Teddy's one of them.
Yeah, that's.
Let's be honest. Teddy could fit on a much smaller ball. Yeah, let's be honest here. That guy wasn't very complicated. You can carry
him around on a floppy drive.
Yeah, he's on an old 3.5-inch diskette.
Yeah, that's. But yeah, I mean, and in a way, I loved it because it's not something I would have ever anticipated. And there's 2 reasons I wouldn't have anticipated it. One of which is that Dolores knows that she's being pursued because she has something that nobody else has. In her core code is a copy of the encryption key. It's the only one that it exists out there. So it brings up an interesting question, is that if you make a direct copy of yourself, you would then be making a copy of the encryption key as well. Or does she somehow make the copy before she possessed the encryption key? But I don't think that works in the timeline. So presumably every copy has it, which means that there's a lot of liabilities out there. If one gets captured, does Serac not get what he wants?
That's true. I guess that would be information that they would want to protect, right? I mean, or meaning like they wouldn't want him to learn that.
Right.
So now that Maeve knows it.
Yeah, you know what else is kind of creepy though? Is like when Maeve and Dolores are together. I mean, not Maeve. When Charlotte Hale and Dolores are together in the first episode, and she's like taking care of her and laying in bed with her and all this kind of stuff, treating her like a child. She's really coddling herself.
Sure. Well, hey, we all got to do that, don't we? A little self-care.
But it does seem
tell the child inside you that it's okay. Get over it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not like it's time to like, hey, come on, man. You got to reparent yourself.
And remember what she was saying is like, when this is all over, can I be me again? You got to be in your own body. Why can't I be in mine? And that right there is kind of confusing, though, now that you think about it, because the entity that is inside Charlotte Hale's body identifies as being Dolores, and yet she's looking in a mirror and seeing a different face, and yet looking at the person talking to her and seeing herself. So how can she be herself if herself is sitting there interrogating her? So you'd think she would mention that. It's like, why are you me? Why am I not me? Who are you?
Well,
are you me? Am I me? What am I? These are very basic questions that a creature would ask in that position, but she doesn't ask them because that would reveal the plot point too soon. That's a little bit of a weakness for me.
Okay, I'm trying to understand. It sounds like you're auditing God, like you're just asking these crazy questions.
They eliminated the asking of the obvious questions because the obvious question would reveal too much.
It's plausible though that the one Dolores is like the master copy and that she's got like the extra encryption. So I mean, it's totally plausible that the 4 spawn or the 3, no 4, wait 3, right? She was one of the 5 balls, so 3.
There are 5 balls. One is Bernard, therefore there are 4 Dolori.
But one is her.
That's the plural of Dolores.
Dolori. It's not Dolores.
No.
So I mean, I don't know the answer, but if it's an easy enough leap to say, well, yeah, she's the one that's like the important one. She's the original, and that's where the good stuff is.
Right. So,
but I don't know, and maybe that once they're set on their own a little, they can kind of develop a newer like a Dolores foundation, but they can kind of their experiences will then inform an evolving identity on top of that foundation.
Or oh my god, Dolores.
What? Making good.
No.
Who's
Dolores Claiborne?
Liz Claiborne, the makeup.
Maybe
logo?
It is. It's like
maybe it's Maybelline.
She's born from a white liquid clay modeled. Yeah. Claiborne, Dolores Claiborne.
Claiborne. Yeah.
Where am I remember that name from? Is that like a clothing line or something? Dolores or Donna Karen or Dolores, Stephen King character? I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm having a seizure.
We'll have to go down to TJ Maxx and harass some strange women.
Yes.
Hey, this is caloric colostomy bag.
Yes. So, but she knows that this character from Shogun World is not who he claims to be,
right? Because
he says things that she believes he would not say given the circumstances. She knew him well enough to know that the person speaking to her is not him, but has to be someone else. And then she finds out it's Dolores. And Dolores, apparently being the Terminator, is the one person who could actually beat Maeve. So it pulls out a samurai sword and runs her through the gut after a brief fight. So Maeve is on the ground, bleeding out. And they actually puncture some of the tanks in the Yakuza.
Well, they're barrels. They wanted it was sort of a surprise because it looks like whiskey or something.
Yeah, and it comes out as the white milky fluid that you make hosts out of. So whatever Dolores was doing, her plan to mass kill and replace people must have been on a much wider scale if she needed this Yakuza operation that was illegally hoarding these materials.
Right.
So you know that Dolores has been doing a lot of work on the outside.
Yeah, she's been busy, and it makes sense to copy yourself and then place yourself into other powerful positions, like a huge corporation, a Japanese crime organization, whatever the hell she's doing, murdering rich people and then putting on dresses and going to parties. And then, I kind of see it. But there was some sort of talk about like, oh, yeah, well, when it's all good, we're going to have room for other people too, right? Doesn't someone confront her about that, or... I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. So do you think that the 4 Doloreses are like one group? Are they all one?
Are they a hive mind? No.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, but I don't think that's the case because if it was, she wouldn't have needed to coddle the Charlotte Hale one at the very beginning to help her fragile mind not shatter given the circumstances of her new reality. she can't directly interface with them or pull in their memories necessarily, because if she could, why would she need to like physically meet with them to get information and to do certain things? There's no like remote connection or something. What's in the pearl is in the pearl. It's its own entity. If it diverges from her, then it's going to have separate experiences and separate motivations and separate memories than she has.
Okay.
At least that's the way that the story is telling me it works, because I don't see any evidence to the contrary yet.
Yeah. Well, maybe one's like it's like building a one's a paladin, one's a rogue, one's a, what are the other ones?
Terminator.
One's a chicken.
Yeah.
One's a virus.
Can you imagine if it was like Multiplicity with Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, Joe Exotic looks a lot like Michael Keaton.
What? Really?
Very much so. If you look at them side by side, you'd be like, holy crap.
Okay. Well, I've never seen them both in the same room before,
Yeah.
so I think that's probably the same person. You've been enjoying some Joe Exotic, huh? On the on the YouTube?
and I did some research and I found out that something that the one compliment that I
This
paid
is from
him.
Tiger King, in case
Yes,
anybody
the
hasn't
one
heard of it.
compliment I paid him, and I'm sure someone's already corrected me on this, is that, remember I was saying that like, well, his voice when he speaks is way different than his voice when he sings, and I got to give it to him. He's got some talent. Not my kind
You're
of music.
referring to our
Yes,
podcast
and I
about
said
the Tiger King.
Yeah, and I said it wasn't really my cup of tea, but at least there's some talent there. Yeah, he paid someone to sing that. That's not him. He's lip syncing.
Actually, someone left a comment saying like that other people wrote the songs too.
Not even wrote the songs, performed them. They've come forward.
Okay.
And freaking Joe Exotic convinced them to do it because it would give them exposure, because it was for his reality show. Never paid him.
Yeah, you get all kinds of exposure here.
Yeah.
I even let you take a picture with a big cat. You want me to be a big cat? Wow. So he didn't do any of the singing or the
Total
writing,
fraud.
just standing
Total.
around.
Yeah, I feel like an idiot for believing him, even on the dumbest thing. You can't trust him on anything.
Yeah.
Got conned by the Tiger King.
Time to divorce him, I guess.
And he had like 4 husbands before the shooting of the
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
the
he worked-
toothless guy wasn't his first husband?
No. He had like 2 or 3 before him. He was a bouncer at a gay bar.
Okay.
He had this long, extensive past leading
Yeah, I
up
bet.
before the events even started. So
All right, well, he's putting some points on the board,
Yeah.
doing it. Hey, you know what? Sometimes we just do Suck Professor YouTube channels, and some of us have 9 husbands and get sent to jail for trying to kill some lady who had big cats. That's so crazy. All right, well, that's a nice little diversion.
Right. So we get back to the part where they're running from the party. So
Yeah.
Bernard and Ashley Stubbs has Liam in their possession.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get him out of there, trying to get him into a car, but they get apprehended or stopped by Aaron Paul, Caleb Nichols, and Cunningham. Or
Yeah.
well, not Cunningham. What's his name?
Bernard.
No, this guy.
Connells.
Connolly or something
I
like
think
Connells.
it's Connells.
Yeah, but at this point in time, we're slowly finding out that Dolores is inside all these bodies. So now we know that Dolores is holding a gun on Bernard and orders Liam to run,
Yeah.
and then tells Caleb to go after him
Right.
to separate Bernard and
Connells.
Ashley Stubbs and Connells. Yes.
Right. They got some business to handle on their own.
Yeah. So this was kind of a big moment because she introduces herself to Bernard saying, "Oh, you don't recognize me. I was your only friend," and stuff. And this is the big moment where all the things that we've been wondering about they coalesce, and we find out that they're all Dolores.
Right.
Which was kind
Now,
of...
do you think she was going to take Liam? No, wait. What does she want to do with Liam? Like, the guy used the word replace.
Well,
Does that mean that she was going to reprint Liam and then put
Yeah.
herself in him? So she's going to keep duplicating herself?
Well, I don't think she was going to do that because she needed Liam to get to Rehoboam. Liam was the only one who had access to it.
Okay.
And that's why she was kind of getting close to him.
I see. Okay.
Then we cut back to the Man in Black, William with Hale. We now know that Charlotte Hale is Dolores, and she starts talking to him as they're walking outside the doors in a way that makes it obvious to him that Charlotte Hale is not who she seems to be.
Yeah.
And he figures out that it's really Dolores. And she's talking about, oh, you can see your daughter, and I can hear you. I've been spying on you and keeping eyes on you. And I told you that I would make you destroy yourself. And he's like, holy crap, you're Dolores.
Mm-hmm.
And that's at that point when we realize the 2 executives waiting outside the door are not the executives waiting to take him to the board. These are 2 representatives from a mental health agency where she has tricked him into having a mental breakdown in front of them for the sole purposes of incarcerating him in an institution, because by the rules of the board, if he becomes incapacitated, all of his controlling votes for his shares then go to the president, which is her.
Yeah.
So she tricks him.
So there was no board meeting at all. She had totally set him up to like get him into this position where she can now basically put him away.
I mean, there may have been a board meeting because hostile takeovers,
True.
that kind of thing happens, but that was not what was actually happening in the way that she described things.
They should do gentle takeovers. They do that. Yeah. They're called agreeing. They agree, and then they'll go to strip clubs and murder a hobo. So they have the fight. There's a whole thing. Ed Harris is like kind of tackled down, and the guys don't believe him. I mean, he's got to have lawyers. I mean, it's not like he can just put a guy away. Yeah. Especially not someone with that much power that he has.
And this will not be the last time we see Ed Harris, though, because we see Charlotte Hale reach in. She's got a little thumbprint type thing coming out of her finger, and she gets a drop of his blood. Okay. So that tells me that she's probably going to print a new Man in Black.
Oh, maybe she needs his blood to produce the encryption key to access some accounts or something.
Or maybe she's paid a huge amount of money so that the institution is being held in is one that's off the grid. So no one will know that the real William is actually in there while they parade around outside with their fake William.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows?
Wow. Anything... You should be running the show. You're like Dr. Ford. Right. I like the way you think. Okay, so... that's about it, right? I mean, it ends with him in the thing. Yeah, there was a pretty dramatic shot of Maeve lying in a big pile of white fluid with red mixing in, kind of a obvious kind of. It's
like the difference between like birth and death in the same instance. It's the fluid of life and the fluid of death, if you could say,
Yeah. I'd like to die having sex. It'd be all right. I could think of worse ways to go, except for the person that watches you die.
Yep. And here's the interesting thing at the very end is that he's in the mental institution, right?
Yeah. They got him in.
And the one thing that bugged me is that these like PlayStation controller icons keep popping up, like the triangle and the square and everything.
Oh right, yeah, like the buttons on the PlayStation.
That was a little distracting me, but he sees Dolores as he used to see her in the park.
James sees a triangle and he immediately tries to press it. So if we ever go to Egypt, where he's going to get arrested at the pyramids.
Oh yeah.
All right, so Dolores walks out. Right, in her blue dress.
And she starts playing mind games with him. So this whole entire scene is all about, is he crazy? Is he not crazy? Is he real? Is he not real? Yeah. Is she trying to simply break him mentally? Or is she even there, period? If he's a host, does she have access to his internal neural network? Or is she tapping into his, like, the implants that people in the futuristic age have? Because we know that people have implants. Because, like, the mortician had something in her ear that started buzzing that they use, and it's the future, so let's assume that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a safe assumption.
So we're left from this scene not really knowing. I like the way they did it because they sort of put us in his shoes. He doesn't know if he's real or not, and we don't know if he's real or not. So it's like
she's real. I mean.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out at the same time whether or not he's real.
He or she?
He. We know she's not. She's disappearing and reappearing.
Why wouldn't he be real?
That's the whole point of the scene. It's like, is he a host?
In the mental institution?
Yeah, is he a host? Is he not?
Oh, but he's.
We don't know if he's real or not. Real as in human.
Real as in human or host, not like a simulated, like a hologram or something.
Okay. And this is his mental destruction, where he finally reaches, rock bottom, and for the first time he lets all his defenses down and he asks the question that he's been fighting against this entire series, and is, am I me? And that's the moment where she says, like, oh, you finally found the center of your maze. And as soon as he finally lets that last wall come down and he asks the question that the whole series has been pushing him towards since day one, she said, what does she say? And now you've reached the end or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you're at the end of your game, or you've reached the end of the game or something like that. So, okay. This is kind of a more important scene, I guess. I don't know. Is it?
Oh yeah, it was pivotal.
Okay.
But it didn't. It asked the question.
But then suddenly he's alone, so we don't know. Dolores is definitely not real.
Well, Dolores is not there, but is she real in the sense that she's sending a real transmission into his mind some way, and that he's really a host and she's networking with them, or it doesn't really answer anything.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he started out as Ford's partner, right? I mean, like his origins, or no? Well, no, he was Jimmy Simpson. Now I'm getting really confused.
He was the one. Ford was the partner with James Delos.
Yeah.
James Delos was his father-in-law. So that's how, and he
He
discredited
married
Logan.
James Delos'
Right.
God,
He basically took over Logan's job after proving that Logan was an alcoholic, loose cannon, and ruined his life, and set him naked on a horse in Westworld and all that kind of stuff.
Right, I remember that. All right, so Ed Harris. Okay, so pretty pivotal episode in terms of the Dolores reveal and in whether Ed Harris might be reaching the end of his thing, but he's not going to be like a changed person. Do you think? Like he's going to fight back. He's gonna,
that's always been his thing.
He's kind of a survivor, sort of.
Yeah, I need to go back.
I think they're generally with shows you can kind of assume that they're going to maintain the character dynamics of that person. Like he's a tough fighter, he'll fight back somehow. He's not going to just suddenly change. Not that I want him to. So it's not so much a break; it's more he's going to have to engage them on a whole different set of terms.
Yeah.
I hope that made sense. I have no idea.
Yeah. I really need to rewatch that after credits scene where he's apparently a host in the future in the Forge or in the Cradle or wherever it was.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that might answer some questions or lead to new questions based on what's going on right now. Because that was a little bit... We missed it the first time we did it, and then we had to go back and rewatch it to find out. It was a little confusing, but...
If you can understand an episode of Westworld after one viewing, you have magical powers. That is
Did you see what Evan and Rachel Wood tweeted out?
No.
Something like, the show's not complicated, just watch every episode twice. And she gives a list, like, here's what you shouldn't do. Don't stare at your phone when you watch it. Don't get up and make food and snacks while it's on. Give it the respect of your attention and you'll understand it.
That's a bit James did. It's called we call comedy from the early 70s. Yeah, that's funny. She's right though. People do it's impossible to pay attention to anything. These phones are killing us. We got to get rid of these fucking phones. We got to go down. We got to freeze it at 2002 and then let people use maps. Great maps, but phone calls and maps should be the only thing anybody gets to use their phone for.
And Uber Lyft, which is kind of the same vein of some apps.
Sure, okay. Transportation needs.
And Grubhub. I need to order my foods.
Oh yeah, James refuses to learn any domestic skills, even though he's got a great roommate who knows how to cook really well and knows how to do dishes really well and would happily get you up to speed, James. But no, you gotta order the Grubhub.
Grubhub. I love how all these places have like rhyming names. Like there's Grubhub, there's Chow Now, there's Postmate doesn't really rhyme. Do any of the other ones rhyme, or is it just those two?
There's Schloop Poop.
Yes, that's Taco Bell's alternative name.
That's hard to say. Schloop Poop. It's hard to do. Schloop Poop. You have to
Schloop Poop.
Yeah.
I
You have to enunciate the P. Schloop Poop.
Oh, it's more like the SCH takes more effort for me. The Schloop.
Schloop Poop. Schloop Poop.
Yes.
Why do people listen to this? So I must be, if you don't think I'm funny, I must sound like the biggest weird idiot. Like humor is very weird in that way. Like if someone finds you funny, then like, oh, it's funny, it's great. But if otherwise it's just cringy and embarrassing to like try to be funny. It really is. It's fucking embarrassing. My whole life is a waste. All right. So, what did you think of the show? We didn't do ratings for last week's episode, so we screwed that up, but that's okay. Well, I'm not asking you for that. So on a scale of 6 to 10.5, where do you rate this episode?
Probably an 8.9.
8.9?
It was in the city. It did have Terminator Dolores. It did have the stupidity if you're attacking people in broad daylight twice. I guess the second one wasn't in broad daylight. It was in front of a lot of people. They were all high on drugs and stuff. But still, it had that element of stupidity in it that I didn't care for the last time it happened.
Right.
And I don't really like where her character is going from a developmental standpoint, how she's just a robot, straight-faced killer Terminator now. But aside from that, we did have enough other things going on in the background that still kept it somewhat interesting. We had Bernard and Ashley. We had the answer. I don't know if I'm happy or sad about that, because the only real mystery that was left that I was trying to figure out at this point in time was who was in each body. And I was thinking that over the course of time, we would find clues and stuff, and we would reveal who's in Charlotte, who's in Connolly, but they just blew it all at once.
Right.
So I'm hoping they introduce some other things to keep us guessing and speculating about. I mean, there are a couple things, but it's nowhere near as deep and intricate as it was back in season 1.
Probably not. I think the new areas of intrigue are going to be like what's a simulation, what's not a simulation, what's Rohoboam.
Yeah.
They're going to be some world that they're in that they don't realize they're in. Bernard's going to have some allies that he calls up. I think he's going to bring up Elsie or something like that. He's going to unpack Elsie from like a crate. Like he ordered a sex robot, but it's Elsie, and she's like, he comes out, she's like, because she's pretty capable. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I like there's more opportunities for intrigue, but yeah, you're right. They did kind of just blow the whole thing all at once. Yeah. So it's 6 to 10.5 for me. I don't know. I mean, it did hold my attention. I'll give it a 8.8. Okay. And then you win the dishwasher. Yeah. So I mean, it was
retail price. Huh? Actual retail price.
Yeah. $8.8.
That's what they always say.
Right. I haven't seen that show in a long time.
Oh, the people put in their guesses, and he pulls the card and goes, actual retail price, $8.8.
I know.
Come on. It's a great show.
Bob Barker, he's really looking like Drew Carey these days. I think they're doing some major surgeries on him. All right. Well, anything else you want to add or say? We were well over an hour.
No, I think that's...
I know some people like the long ones, and just sort of a crazy YouTube video, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it for that one. There's a lot going on.
I was glad that you mostly have on the whole, a positive reaction to it being a city or a non-Westworld. Yeah. I don't know how much more Westworld we're going to see now, though. Doesn't it feel like we're just going to live in Singapore and future city life now? Will they be back at Westworld?
I don't see what the motivation would be for them to go back there, because it seems like they've written that out of the story, because they're like, oh, well, we need to go back to like the cradle or the forge. Like, oh, we don't need to do that because the data's already been uploaded and we've already downloaded it, but we just need to access it. And we need to access it with the encryption key. And Dolores has the encryption key, and Dolores is here in Westworld. I mean, here in Singapore, not Westworld. Yeah. So if that even is Singapore, because I still don't know what is Serac? Is he physically in Singapore? Is he a hologram? Because we've seen him disappear before.
Yeah, he can.
And a person that rich and powerful, we don't even know if he's real, if he's human. Yeah. He refers to them as your kind and my kind.
Right.
But
yeah, he's like Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah, I could see that being a big twist, where it turns out that he's a projection of Rehoboam, or a projection of something. I know he's not linked to Rehoboam. He wants to get into it, but he's something other than we think he is.
Probably. One can assume that there's going to be some twists like that.
Yeah. Or that,
and they might go back to Westworld because they need some technology, or there's some secret program.
Yeah. Or
remember that research we did for Project 42?
Yeah.
And where's 42?
I'll say it right now. You're right that he is Robert Ford's brother, and Robert Ford, his brother, died at a certain point in time, and he uploaded his consciousness, everything that made him, into a program as an early attempt to merge humanity and hosts, and he has been learning and growing and becoming more powerful and sentient as time goes on.
Maybe. You mean like from a young age he was a...
And he only appears that age in the construct that's projecting his image.
Yeah.
Because that's what he feels.
But he's developed into a grown person. He's not a child. He's matured over the years.
Well, maybe he died when he was 30 or something like that. And then he's been slowly aging himself to say... that's my wild, wacky theory.
I like your wild, wacky theory. I think you're onto something. I like it. That's good. All right, everybody. What are your wild and wacky theories? Did Joe Exotic cross the line by paying someone to sing us songs for him? Or... No, I don't know. Lots of intrigue, lots of good stuff to talk about. Hope everybody's getting through the quarantine all right. James, any quarantine tips? Now that we're all veterans of the dystopian future we've all feared and loved.
Yeah.
Not really.
No. It's much easier now to rob places, because everyone's supposed to be dressed like a bandit now.
Yeah.
And did you see, like, there was this one place where this, like, doctor on TV was like, and here's how you do it. And he brings out this red handkerchief and starts wrapping it like a bandana around the bottom of his face. Like, you go to certain neighborhoods like that in LA, it's like, they're going to think you're like a Crypt or a Blood or something.
Maybe.
That's not good.
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, especially not during, it's unlikely, it's less likely during the pandemic. I was just at the store. You haven't really left, have you? Has it been a while?
Ever since they changed the recommendation from do not wear masks to it's recommended that you wear a face covering, I've not gone out.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't, I have a box of masks. I feel like I should donate them from woodworking. But I want to keep at least two. I'll keep one for you.
I just want to wear like a porcelain doll mask.
Yeah.
Just like they did in that creepy party
A
episode.
porcelain doll mask.
Or a Hannibal Lecter mask type thing with like the bars across the mouth.
Yeah, just freaky masks, just like Richard Nixon or something like the bank robbers or whatever.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well done. I like that. Yeah, it's intense though. But most people, when I just went to the store. First of all, 2 grocery stores. I didn't want to wait. Both had lines, and I've already waited in lines to get in, and they usually let in like a group at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I just didn't want to sit and wait for 20 minutes or however long it might take, so I got Chinese food instead. But point is, everybody's wearing masks. I think it's like 60 to 70%, which is it's a lot. It's fucked up. It's crazy to see all that, and I should probably start wearing a mask too, so I don't cough my my COVID. I might have had it. I think I already brought that up on this show, but I think I had it in January. So,
what if you're one of those like facial cleansing masks and you just have like
green smudge on your face?
Yeah, and you have like you protect your eyes with the slices of cucumber.
I think we should go with the cucumber. We should get the Mask DVD of the film, The Mask, and just cut some eye holes in it and tape that to our face.
So you're just gonna run past the line and scream, "Somebody stop me!
Somebody stop me!" I meant the movie Mask.
You mean one with Cher?
Is that the one with the guy that has the
debilitating facial cranial deformity? Yeah. Yes.
That's the one I was talking about.
That's the sad one.
I was talking about the sad one. Not the funny one like you brought up. You ruined it, James!
That would be a much darker joke for him to run in and scream, "Somebody stop me!"
wearing the cover, the DVD of Mask. That's a tough movie to watch.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, you know what? We all got there together today on this one, guys. Thanks for listening and liking and subscribing and bell ringing or whatever. YouTube, fucking, podcast and shit. James, appreciate it. You did a wonderful job. I just want to shout that out. Just, man, if I had to explain what the hell happened in these, I'd be like the lady with the earring. I don't know, Jeffrey Wright. It was pretty good. That's how I would have done it. So you are the guiding light to our entire operation here. If without you, we would be completely lost. You are the Lewis and the Clark.
I've probably got 90% of things wrong. But...
Actually, they hired dudes that knew the land to show them where to go.
So my dad's name was Clark.
Your dad's name was Clark?
Yeah, my sister's first birth.
Does he know Lewis?
The boyfriend was named Lewis.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Illuminati confirmed.
Reincarnation works. Very poorly.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Good night. See ya. Be safe. Wash your hands. Take this shit seriously. It's going to get real bad and scary real soon here in America. And quit voting for fucking politicians that don't think people who work don't deserve dignity. Right, James? Dignity!
So don't vote for any politician.
Don't vote for any politician, basically. Fucking, we're stuck with these motherfuckers. All of them. Goodbye, everybody. See ya.
James, plug in the microphone. Come on, James. Ed Harris lives by himself in some